Hello, everyone. So good to be back with you, Kristy. Good to see you.
Hey, Jody.
Oh, give me one moment. I'm getting a technical flag here on the system.
Are we having technical errors?
Shocking, I know. But you know what? We're just going to remove that one. Okay. There we go. That's fixed. How are you, my friend?
Good. How you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you. And to all of our viewers, thank you so much for joining us today. I am so excited about this episode. Everyone who knows me knows that I love talking GTM, so I could not be more excited. We have an amazing guest who's going to join us on the show. Kristy, are you ready for? I hope you prepared your questions. We got some good ones.
I did. I'm really looking forward to this because I have GTM from a product side. But I don't do GTM overall, right? I do it from the product side. So this is a foray into something really exciting for me.
Although, as our guest is going to talk about, product is actually really important in this mix. So I'm glad you said that. For anyone in the go-to-market space, the name Sangram Vajre is probably very familiar to all of you. He is the CEO of GTM Partners, which is a data-driven go-to-market analyst firm. He's built two companies to over, I believe, 100 million in revenue, served as the head of marketing for Pardot, co-founded Terminus. He's a Wall Street Journal best-selling author of the book Move, the 4-question go-to-market framework. He has created GTM Monday, which is a weekly briefing with over 175,000 subscribers focused on the GTM operating framework. He has spoken at numerous events. If you are going to any of those industry events or tuning in virtually, chances are Sangram was one of the keynote speakers. And I'm super excited because on today's episode, as you all know, you get to ask your questions live to one of the top gurus in the B2B go-to-market space. So we're ready to bring him on and dive right in, Kristy?
Sure, let's do it.
Sangram, welcome.
Yeah, hey, Jody and Kristy. Well, excited to get the movement going and everything go-to-market. I'm all in.
Awesome. Well, we have, Kristy and I were talking before. There were some points that we were going over, Kristy, with some stats, I think, that you found as you were going through some research. And I think we really, let's talk about some of those statistics, shall we?
Sure. I think the one that I like the most is that in 2025, B2B companies are going to focus on driving qualified conversations directly impacting revenue rather than just lead generation.
I think I'm on the bandwagon for a long time, right? I remember when I was building Terminus, we had this quote from Forrester that says less than 1% of the leads turn into customers. Why not flip funnels? And that's when the whole flip my funnel thing was a big deal. I think what's interesting, if you take some just stock of what has happened over the last decade or two, we're just realizing we're just doing more garbage in, garbage out. If you really look at with all the technology, and let's make sure we say AI in the first 5 minutes so the algorithms are happy. But it's like with AI, there's more garbage in at a faster rate than it has ever been. And so the idea around some of these stats is really pushing the envelope. Ultimately, we are always at the highest level where every customer really wants 3 things. Can we do it better? Can we do it faster? Can we do it cheaper? And as long as those 3 things in some sort of equation make sense, and this is the old adage, people are in the know for it. And with technology, we have always tried to say, well, let's just get more and not better, cheaper, faster. You're just getting more, which is not something. Nobody wants more leads. If you really think about it, nobody really wants, and this is going to sound crazy, nobody actually wants more pipeline. They want to close more pipeline. If you really look at it, nobody really wants revenue because all revenue is not the same. People want revenue from the best fit customers that will actually stay longer with you. So So when you really dig in the intentionality behind what we all really have been pursued, I think people want better results more so, but we've all been doing more. And that's really what that stat signifies.
Well, when you were talking about, and we're going to dive in, I'm sure, on how AI as a technology plays into this and some of the challenges, but I'm going to just put a pin in that one because I have a feeling if we go down the AI path right now, we're going to derail on so many areas that
That's all we'll talk about.
Yeah, no definitely want to cover. But Kristy, you mentioned in the beginning, right? I'm on the product side of GTM, and I love that you actually said that because I am very much a believer in what the GTM partners research has shown in the framework, right? Mm-hmm. Every single department is responsible for go-to-market. I mean, Sangram, I mean, obviously you can speak best to it, but what are your thoughts on product coming into this, this movement?
I think Kristy's gonna appreciate this comment I'm about to say. Most go-to-market, and we do so much advisory research around this thing. Unfortunately, product is not even in the room.
Oh yeah, I know.
and that is a singular biggest reason why go-to-market actually fails. Right. Nobody wants to talk about it, and nobody wants to pull that out. But in reality, product is a significant part of the whole process because what are we selling? You have to talk about that. And a lot of times the answers to marketing or sales problems actually can come from product. So I'll give you a couple of examples that we just saw in our research and advisory work. There was a company that was around, I think, 45 million in revenue, and they were having a big go-to-market challenge. And they were focused on how do we go down market? That was so they were always selling in the enterprise, and they wanted to flip it with everything going on in the marketplace and start focusing down market. Very different problem if you really think about most companies are solving. Everybody wants to go. They want to go down market because they're seeing this shift in it. And we are having this advisory work, and the product person is not even in the room. So we said, no, we don't do it that way. We need any advisory we ever done. We want the CEO involved. We want heads of every single leadership team involved in it, the go-to-market, marketing, sales, operations, product, they all need to be there. If there is a RevOps, they need to be there. So that we make go-to-market decisions as a business, not as a function, but as a business. It's a big challenge for most of them to do it. But when they do it, and we never do advisory unless they agree to do it. So then the next meeting they brought in the product person, really hesitantly. Well, they are technical, they talk about stuff, and we don't really understand. And so they don't bring the product person for these kind of reasons. So product team has to learn to understand and how to communicate better. And I'm sure, Kristy, you have thoughts on that. But they brought that person in, and we started to go through the framework and ask them very specific question. In literally about 13 minutes, the product team actually came up with a better marketing campaign and a proper sales pricing strategy that actually will close the product. And they took the product and saying, yeah, you know what? Instead of selling this giant thing that we sell today, how about we just create a smaller light version with only 5 of these features, and then we can sell it for a much lower price. So it allows you to go down market without even they recognizing they actually did all that. And then the meeting was done, and the CEO called me later. Oh my gosh, thank you. I think we just never understood the power of product.
Absolutely. It's funny because I've taken companies' products down market for them with exactly that approach. And if you don't have a CMO or anybody in the executive team that really understands go-to-market, your product manager or your product director or your VP of product, whatever, usually winds up carrying that ball because they're the ones that know that in order to get this thing out the door and sold, I need legal. I need operations. I need sales. I need all of these people to help me get this ready holistically.
Yeah.
So thank you. I appreciate that. I'm going to put that all of that on a plaque on my wall behind me.
You can take there was I forget the name of the company. I once said that RevOps was the second most important role in a company. They put a billboard and actually put it out in San Francisco, and somebody took a picture and sent it to me. I'm like, I got to be careful what I say because I could be on a billboard nowadays, and so it was funny. It was obviously a stand behind it, but it was on a billboard, so it was crazy.
I'll take it.
Well, I don't know. This brings up another question that you started touching on, Kristy, right? Product really driving a lot and getting all of those departments involved in the conversation. Sangram, one of the things I've heard you talk about in the past is who really owns go-to-market, right?
Yeah.
Who should own the go-to-market strategy within a company?
Well, in 2021, when we wrote the Move book, which interestingly, we sell more copies of the book now than in 2021, which is unbelievable because B2B is such a small segment of everything. So it's insane. It's working. It's doing great. But at that time, Jody, I had almost two exits. Both of them over 100 million. One was Pardot getting acquired by Salesforce, and then Terminus acquired by a PE firm. And so I had a chip over my shoulder, quite frankly. I thought I knew and understand go-to-market. Built a couple of companies, and I felt like we had some success. And so I started interviewing billion-dollar CEOs like Brian Halligan at that time at HubSpot, and then PE firms that actually had billion-dollar exits, like Kelly Ford from Edison Partners, who were also an investor in us, and lots of other folks that were much bigger companies than I personally have ever built. And it was so fascinating. We had a list of 50 questions. All right. And one of the questions was who owns go-to-market? And we just thought, it will be all over the place. It will be hodgepodge. And so it's cool. Every single CEO, I kid you not, did not even blink when we said, who owns go-to-market? Oh, I do. I'm like, no. I'm not saying where the buck stops. I'm saying who owns it, like ownership. Like I'm trying to define ownership. And they're like, no. And Brian Halligan was the best at this. He said, Sam, you don't understand. There are only three things that I own as a CEO. And every CEO typically owns these three things if they're good and have results. Number one, I own the vision for the company. Where are we going? I'm talking all day long about it to my customers, to my shareholders, to my partners, to my employees. Every day, I have to be the greatest evangelist of the vision where we want to go. Makes sense? He said, the second thing I own is the culture. If we don't have great people, no matter what we build and how we build it, I'm never going to be able to scale it. Like I have to own the culture. But the third thing he said I get no credit for, and is the most important thing, is go-to-market. I own go-to-market. And so we said, well, define go-to-market. That was the next logical question. Like, if you own, define it. And he said, well, it's a process. It's a transformational process. And he gave me examples. Who can make the decision between spending more money in marketing or sales? That's a CEO, and it's a go-to-market decision. Should we buy a company or invest in our product team like Kristy? And then he's like, well, who's going to make that decision? The CEO. And what is that? It's a go-to-market decisions. Should we open an office in EMEA or stay in North America? That is a go-to-market. So it opened my eyes to like my idea of go-to-market was sales doing some spiffs and then marketing running some campaigns, and we're launching a partner program and product doing some product marketing stuff. I had a very limited view of what go-to-market is, and that whole process of writing this book really expanded I became a student of go-to-market.
I have a question about that. If the CEO is the owner of go-to-market, so that's a lot of stuff, right? Like daily, 8 hours a day stuff. What about in a startup where the CEO is trying to get funding or trying to evangelize the product, get a little bit of share, attend conferences, get the word out, all that kind of stuff? Do they still own go-to-market, or is that part of go-to-market?
I recognize that question, and I have asked that question, as you can imagine. Like, you're $1 billion company, you have a share, you have a ticker symbol. Like, how can you own anything so small, a big? Like, there are myriad of challenges across the board. The definition of go-to-market is what changes the understanding of ownership, and also what does it mean to own it? When we look at our research, the reason a lot of times companies are not getting out of the issues that they have is because of the latency they have in their decision making. They're not able to make decisions because the CEO is not taking the time to make it clear why we're doing what we're doing. So ownership doesn't necessarily mean at all that you are in every meeting and you're taking everything. That's implementing whatever it is. But ownership is what we call in our process is CAT process: clarity, alignment, and trust. That's what ownership is. The CEO has to help the team to be very clear on why we're doing what we're doing and what bets to make. Another stat is 68% of the survey that we have done said that the go-to-market leader said that they if they knew where they're going and understood the bets, they will actually hit the numbers. Because the CEO is not doing the job of helping that clarity and alignment and trust, it doesn't work. That's why when we do advisory, we want to make sure the whole team is there, because executive team, because for example, ICP, who does ICP? Marketing. No, it's a go-to-market decision of why we're going to go after this, so that when marketing brings in a lead, it goes and sales said, yeah, that kind of lead, I will go all in with it. And the customer success person feels like, man, if you give me that, those are our best customers. I want more of that. That conversation needs to happen. So ICP is not a marketing thing, or a product roadmap is not just a product thing. Now they own the execution of it, the building of it, but CEO has to own clarity, alignment, and trust. And that, I think, founder all the way to $1 billion company, it's still the same.
I love that. Thank you.
Do you find that the silos are a lot harder to break down to begin to get departments thinking about this, instead of like, this is my responsibility? No, this is our responsibility as a team and working together. Like, where is it that does the company size matter, I guess, where you're seeing through your research, hey, this level of company, they're more apt to work together. This level, it's going to be a longer slog.
So I'll give you two thoughts on that one. One of the things in our book is these 3 stages: problem market fit, product market fit, and platform market fit. If you look across the spectrum for all these 3 stages, in early stage, you actually are, without even trying, you are more aligned, because you're just a small team. You're just trying to figure it out. You're talking 100 times a day to figure out what works, and you're changing everything regularly, faster. In a platform, and then especially in the platform market fit, it's a lot harder, because you have a lot of people in a lot of different ways. So I was talking to Henry Schucks, who, by the way, the CEO of ZoomInfo, 2 weeks ago, they changed their ticker symbol to GTM.
Yeah.
Think about that for a second, right?
That's
it's like
brilliant.
a crazy story. We all should be like writing and talking about it. I did a whole interview and put it in on the day they did it. I had a sit down with him, and they literally changed their NASDAQ ticker symbol to GTM, because they realized that they're on this bigger thing, and we're doing a whole research with them now around that. But the point is, like, I asked him, like, how do you run your go-to-market? How do you bring clarity, alignment, and trust? That was the ownership, like Kristy, you were asking about it as well.
Right.
And he said, I meet with my executive team every day. Every single day. He's a publicly traded, like, $1 billion company. Every single day, I meet at 9 or 10 a.m. I forget what time, every day for 1 hour. And sometimes we have an agenda. Sometimes we have other things going on. Sometimes, whatever it might be, we never skip that meeting. I'm like, whoa, why do you do that? He said, I want them to know how I think and how I make decisions, so that they can start learning about it. I don't want a meeting with my executive teams where they don't know. I don't know what Henry's thinking about. I don't know if this will work or not. So it doesn't require a fully fleshed out plan. He's helping his team to think like him, so he can move faster. And the only way you could do that is when you're consistently meeting it. So every day, he said, without a fail, every day I meet. And he changed that 2 years ago. He said, because he could see, as the company was growing and became this platform market fit, this level of decision making, people didn't know what was going on. People were not sure, why did he make that decision? He's like, if my executive team knows how I think and how I'm making decisions when I don't have the answers, and how I'm trying to figure that part out, and we are going through that together every single day, there is no way everybody would be surprised. They would know, and they would take that message down to all the different people in the organization. So the clarity, alignment, trust is a really big deal. There are different ways to do it, but I thought that was one of the best ways he explained it.
Wow. Hearing that a $1 billion company is taking the time to do that on a daily basis. I mean, I think that kind of speaks volumes to also looking at the leadership of companies, right? As you're out there in the marketplace and you're looking at different companies, I think looking at who the leadership is of a company and how they go about their daily work and how interaction with companies becomes even more important for exactly what you just said, Sangram.
Yeah.
Right? There are some leaders who you're lucky if you get 5 minutes with them in a month, right? And I think we're going to start to see less and less of that, though, because of everything that's happening today demands that we all have to work together and break down those silos more quickly. Right? We no longer have the luxury of working in our siloed department, tossing something over a wall, letting the next team run with it. I mean, that's gone.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, you can probably see it, but it's on my shirt over here, which literally says, you don't have a marketing problem, sales problem, or CS. And on the back, it says you have a go-to-market problem. Jody, you probably saw me wear that at one of the events we've done. And I wear this literally as like, I personally have made that mistake all in my career. At Pardot, I thought I was running marketing and I was thinking about marketing all day long. And I thought sales sucks. They don't know what they're doing, like what they are not closing my leads, and they are the problem, because I was in that I was trying to be the best at what my role was. And then that's led me to start Terminus with Eric Spett and Eric Bass. And when we started that, well, like it was all about bringing marketing and sales together. That was the whole promise of ABM. And then we had churn issue in the early days. And I'm like, customer success sucks. They don't know how to keep deals. We are selling it. We have the greatest alignment. And all along, I'm like, the problem was I never looked at them as go-to-market team. Like that was a miss. And so the whole idea, hopefully, our hope is ultimately people recognize that go-to-market is the business. It's not part of the business. It's not the function. Go-to-market is the business.
So I've been having some conversations with folks as we're talking about different, motions, how to move things forward in different companies. And because the word market is in that title, trips everyone up, right? As soon as you say market, it's like, oh, that's marketing. That's CMO.
Right.
What if we change? Get market out, right? Because part of the question that I've gotten in the past has been, well, when you say go to market, don't you really mean like a launch of a campaign? Like you're taking a product to market. Versus this bigger idea of how you run the company, how you execute plans to generate revenue, right? It's go to market has such a bad connotation in some eyes that I think if we just took the word market out of there, it would make it a lot easier.
The same thing with ABM, right? ABM, in many cases, people don't see success with it because it's like, hey, marketing, you run ABM program. And that was never the point of it. It was actually for marketing to realize that their job is to focus on accounts, not just leads, because sales always focuses on accounts. Nobody knows how many leads they have, but they will know which are the 10 accounts they want to close and they are in the pipeline with. So that was the whole promise of ABM. I think you're right. I think the phrasing could be even better than that. I just haven't been able to come up with anything that actually got the message out. And surprisingly and interestingly, sales have always used the phrase go to market on their side. And I don't know if I love if you all have, as you're talking to so many people and hear that. To me, that was the reason, because I was feeling that thing when my whole career can be summed up in 3 acronyms. MA for marketing automation, ABM, and GTM. Like that's all I've done in 15 years. You can tell people like that's all it is. I don't have much on that. So I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going after another M here, doing another alliteration on this thing. But GTM specifically has been always used by all these people. And then again, Zoom Info making a big bet, which is a sales-oriented technology to begin with, when they are also making the GTM as part of their ticker symbol and calling it that. I think there is a reason to kind of stay in it unless we come up with every other phrase that I could think of. I was like, man, it's not bringing the idea. So it's not perfect, but it's clear enough for people to move on in the right direction.
Oh yeah, I'm absolutely not advocating that you change anything with the GTM partners, just more the word market. Automatically triggers this response of marketing. And it's like, wait a minute, and I always try and tell people, everyone is a marketer, down to the finance team, down to legal, right? Think about the invoices that are being sent out. I'm like, guys, you're on the front lines there with the procurement team and have the opportunity to make people aware of something new that's coming down, of reinforcing the brand, of every single person in an organization is marketing. And every single person is sales.
I mean, that's one of the events. I don't know if Jody, you were at that event where I would ask the question, well, how many are in marketing and how many are in sales and how many are in CS? And there's like 3 people here and 8 people there and 5 people there. I'm like, you guys, I hope after my talk, when asked this question, how many of you are in go-to-market? Everybody's going to say me, and they're all in, because there is no such thing as one thing. And another research point is that if marketing could solve all the problems of business, they would have done it. I'm a marketer. We would have done it. We're not able to do it. If sales could solve all the problems, because sales and revenue drives a lot, they would have done it. The reality is, go-to-market is the business. And a business requires these teams to work together. And it's one of the hardest things, is because it's human psychology, territory, ownership, like all these things come in place. But that is why the CEO is the only person, Kristy, to your other point on that, CEO is the only person who can see all of it and make that decision and trade-offs all day long. There's nobody else.
What is your thought, when the board comes into play?
Mm-hmm.
Right? So CEO owns the vision and owns, GTM. Let's go on that thread. And then you have a board that may not necessarily support or understand, or right, they're still focused on MQLs and SQLs and metrics, right? And no matter how many times you say the metrics don't matter, it's the revenue that you're producing at the end of the year. I mean, how do you, what does bringing that into alignment look like? Like, how do you get them to understand this new transformation into GTM?
I think it's one of the topics we tackle in the book. We actually created a whole chart: the role of the CEO, the role of the CMO, the role of the CRO, and for that specific reason, the role of the board. And everyone has a role to play. Like we kind of wrote down around sales as sales, marketing. They're the galvanizers of it. Their role is to make sure that this vision is implemented. Marketing is the closest to this because they're seeing a lot more of the journey. Sales is very much at the front of it, and they have to figure that part out. But board ultimately has to back the CEO up, and the CEO's job is to educate the board of how he wants his team to run. I've been on a lot of different boards over the last few years, and obviously with our company, Terminus and others. And I'll tell you point blank, every single successful board member, there's nothing more than he or she likes than marketing saying, hey, you know what? I love what we're doing on the sales side, because as a go-to-market team, here's what we're thinking. Or a product person saying, hey, I love what we're doing on the go-to-market side, and the sales and marketing are sending the right kind of background information for us in order to create a right prioritized list. There's nothing more than a board likes than to see that the teams are actually jockeying for each other and working for each other, because board is there once a quarter. The CEO is ultimately running the show. They can give them all data points and all of it, but the whole goal of that forcing function meeting the board has is to just see, how are you doing as a culture? Are you all aligned? And if you're all aligned, it's 10 times better than being right. Not a single investment I've ever done in any company or any board that I've ever been, I look at, who's the smartest person in the room? Like, that is never the intention of that meeting, because that's a liability. If there's one smartest person and everybody else are like, that's a liability, not a trade secret, unless there's a whole IP around that and all that kind of stuff. So what I'm looking for as a board observer is, are people aligned? If they are, we're going to make money. If they're not, they're going to fight. They're going to have people are going to quit. They're not going to listen to their customers because they're all trying to get. I'm like worried at that point. I'm burning calories on what's going to happen there.
How does that devolve into, as opposed to working together as a holistic unit, all of these different departments having adversarial relationships? Well, sales went and sold this and product can't support it. And the customer service team or the customer success team promised this for their renewal, and we can't do that. And they know we can't do that. And like, it just devolves so fast.
Yeah. That's when companies start going down. Ultimately, there was, I'll never forget the two scenarios here. In the early days of Terminus, we had a incredible sales head of SDR at that time, and he came to us one day and said to me and founders, like, "Hey guys, we have exhausted our TAM. We're exhausted our TAM." We're like, "What do you mean?" It's like we're like, it's 6 months into our business. What do you mean exhausted our TAM? And he's like, No, we have sent emails to everybody. We have messaged everybody that could buy from us. There is nobody left that we could send messages and all. And we were like, oh my gosh, what's going on over here? So we spent time with him to like, what do you mean? Like, dig into it. So they had a list of leads from marketing, and they have exhausted following up on them. And that's all he could think of all day long. And the issue is like that forced him to feel like we don't have any more business. There's no way for sales team to go and get their own leads or find another way. And they were focused on that one campaign, and that's what it. And then on the same exact day, I had another rep come to me and said, okay, we have closed this one amazing deal in healthcare. We need marketing now to create a case study on healthcare industry, 2 landing pages so we can go after this industry and every single person. I need all the accounts we need to go. I'm like, what? Wait. We have closed 200 deals on all these other things, and we have 1 deal on healthcare. And you want right now for marketing to stop creating all of it and just focus on that 1 deal that we closed. There's no repetition in that one. Can you close 3 or 4 more deals? He's like, I can't close any more deal because marketing is not giving me anything. So now it's like a completely crazy. So I look at all of this and saying, this is the reason why businesses fail. It's not because of the smarts. It's not because they don't know what they're doing. It's just they're all solving for themselves. And it becomes such a self-serving outcome that the CEO has to step in and recognize, or the founder, or if it's a bigger company, maybe a president, or whoever is running or is deep into go-to-market, they have to own it and solve for this bickering in it because the outcome is monumental. Like the outcome of a well-done company is not, well, they all are hitting numbers, is that they're actually working together. It's beautiful to watch. And there are very few companies that do it.
Well, I think about when you're talking about bringing all the departments together, and just an example of when you have a customer and you not turn over, I like to say introduce to the team, right? Yeah. You're introducing the customer success and the client experience to the customer, because in reality, the salesperson who has been involved since the start, they should never leave that. They should always be aware and be able to be brought back into a conversation with a customer. And as soon as you say, I'm going to turn over to, or let me, you're going to meet so-and-so who's now going to take this over. You use the words take over and you suddenly lose that entire connection with the customer. And mentally, so many people, I think, take that word and go, I've done my job. I'm turning it over now, right? And it's a mental, it's a state of being really like, well, wait a minute. No, I'm now bringing you over to meet this person who's going to be part of our inner circle, and we're going to work together as a team. And now I'm going to stay connected through that journey.
It doesn't happen. And so in the, I'll just use again examples so people can get in like how to do that. We had 2 core values in my last company: 1 team and keys to the Ferrari. The point of 1 team was, we always, at the end of the day, the customer is never going to say the marketing team sucks, but the sales is awesome. They'll always say the company sucks whenever they have a bad experience. So we always have to be a 1 team from a market perspective. But internally, keys to the Ferrari. Meaning everybody owns something. Like you own the destiny. You're not in a passenger seat. You're not sitting in the back. You're driving the Ferrari. So know that you're driving. You can go as fast as you possibly can. We're trusting that you can run it well, and you're not just going to ground it somewhere else. We're trusting you to do it. So we created these 2 core values that at the outset, it might look like they're competing with each other. But it was a sense where people would then internally would just say, hey, Adam, 1 team moment, like me and so in sales and marketing kind of tackle this together. Oh, we had a keys to the Ferrari moment where we just launched a campaign. We didn't ask for a lot of approvals. We just did a test. It looks like it's going to go well. So we go great. So we're going to need investment in it. So it created moments. And I think organizations need to create that 1 team keys to the Ferrari equivalent of whatever that is in everybody's mind. We did keys to the Ferrari because in the early days, we were at a startup community thing, and the owner of that building had a Ferrari. And he would park it there. So people would walk by that every single day. So people would take pictures with it and all that stuff. And he would even give keys to the top salesperson in the building to drive it around for a day or so. So we had a keys to the Ferrari. So people knew in our company what that meant and that there was a significance to it. So we just created that phrasing as opposed to honesty, integrity, and all of the other things that people say that I don't know if people could even relate. Why are you even hiring people if they're not that to begin with? Separate topic. But that's so the one team keys to the Ferrari is a way of helping exactly, I think, Jody, what you're saying.
I might have to borrow that. I like that. I love keys to the Ferrari. I may even do little pictures of a Ferrari in the Slack channel every day out to the teams. Like, here's the Ferrari.
Yeah, people remember. Like, people can picture themselves. If they can't picture it, the vision is not big enough or good enough. They have to picture it. They have to feel it. They have to feel the air when you're driving the Ferrari kind of thing. And we'll talk about that. And not everybody likes Ferrari or not, like even not, but they get it. People get the point. People are smart. So I think when we give them that moment of clarity, I call it the picture of success. What does it look like? Not $10 million. People were not able to, or getting, how do we get to 10 million in revenue? That's more of a founder talk, a CEO talk, board talk. Most people on the team don't really mean anything because they're not going to make 10 million. So they're like, I don't even know what that means. And you're burning calories.
Right.
If you create a picture of success for them, like one is like, hey, we're going to ring the bell at NASDAQ. You know, that's what we're trying to do here. Like, people can picture that. And that means that we need to be a $70 million profitable company. Now you're giving words to the picture, and now they know the why behind the what that they're trying to do. Most people don't go through the effort to go. They just immediately go, oh, we want to be a $70 million company. Give them the picture of it. And same thing with go to market. Help people with a picture of success. What does that look like ultimately? And if you can do that, I think most people would go all in on that.
So what is the common thread as you're going into organizations and you're really diving deep and trying to understand some of the problems and what's causing their lack of ability to move forward and make that revenue? Are there things that stand out that come across your desk multiple times and you go, okay, these are the three main things all companies are?
Yeah.
So what are they?
So first of all, our research shows there are only 15 go-to-market problems. We haven't found a 16th one. If anybody does find one, send me, DM me, let me know. And the nerdy listening to this would actually go and start thinking about it. But on GTM Partners, we have those 15 problems very well laid out, research, 3,000 plus survey. Like, we just do it every time. So it's part of our assessments and all of that. Now, of the 15, the three that keeps coming up to the top is one, the marketing, sales, customer success out of sync. That is a standard go-to-market problem that everybody talks about. So everything we talked about is at the heart of it. The second one is heroic sales. A lot of times they're looking at massive. I have a couple of heroic sales. They get through this, but I don't know how to replicate this for others. And so you're trying to put the process on the heroic sales. They don't like, so they quit. And now you got a bigger problem. So a lot of companies don't even touch the heroic people and try to make others look like them, which doesn't work. So heroic sales is a big problem that they do. The third one, this is the part that we are starting to see more and more now, which is that we're not even in the deal problem. So you're the last to the deal. A lot of times there are false positives because they're trying to find three vendors and you're the third one, and you feel like you are actually in the deal, but you're actually not in the deal. They've already made the decision. They just want to check the box with you in the deal. So people are running through cycles on the back end. Oh, we got this big deal with Delta and this is going to be awesome. But you were never supposed to win that deal. You were not even in the deal. You were just a checkbox. We see that a lot happening. So you have to figure out that, and our research shows that brand truly drives demand. People have been focusing so much on demand that they haven't really focused on building a great brand. And one of the research study we did was with G2 as a proxy and saying, well, if people are if we had two companies that we were researching or helping them with, and one company stopped all of their marketing, all of their brand campaigns, all of advertising, all of marketing, like social, everything, just stopped it for 1 quarter. And they had the event that required them to do it. And the other company just just put everything on the line, and they started to do a lot more brand-oriented campaigns and initiatives. In one quarter, the company that did not have anything on brand and they stopped everything, they literally did not have inbound. They did not have the message in the market or anything like that. And it took them 3 quarters to come back to air to become normal again. 3 more quarters. So it's almost a 4. So there's a lagging thing that's happening. So they took 4 quarters and they had to double up their brand investments and everything they were doing. And these are both $50 million companies. The other company who actually put a lot more money and put efforts on it, our data showed, and G2 as the proxy, that they started to win more deals. Change nothing else, but they started to win more deals. 2 different markets, 2 different segments, similar size companies. So it told us that brand truly drives demand, and people have been looking at it the wrong way. They're trying to get demand to create brand. No, you have to have brand investments, and that doesn't mean logo or just another tagline. It actually truly means brand in the most broadest sense possible, and you start thinking about it.
Do you think that the explosion of AI technologies are hindering brand?
I think here's my whole take on it, and I've not written too much on AI because everybody's writing a lot of garbage on it. So I'm like, I wouldn't write until I can write something that makes sense to me, and just, but I'm spending at least an hour a day to make myself smart about what's happening, what's possible, the models, all of it. To me, AI is the new internet. That's how I've defined it in my brain. It is going to be nothing or no different than internet, where everybody uses. We don't even talk about internet. We're doing this thing on StreamYard. Like, nobody's talking about it. It's just the internet. We all use it every day and everything. We're never going to talk about, oh, I was on the internet today. Like, nobody's going to do that. Like, we're doing this with AI. Oh, I created this AI prompt. Like, we're all in this teenage world of it. And in many ways, AI is in the Stone Age, if you want to use that as a phrase. We're in the Stone Age of what the invention of AI really is going to bring about. So we are so early, where the best thing is going to look so lousy. We're going to talk next year, Kristy and Jody, we're going to talk about this next year, saying, did you remember last year when people used to just take calls and it recorded and it created transcribe, and we thought that was cool? Or the people could write LinkedIn posts, that was cool, and we could create this prompt. It will seem so dumb, like sending an email. Like, it's not innovative, actually. But it feels great because it's just showing all of a sudden to all of us. So with that being said, AI is going to be the new internet. So everybody has to use it and has to figure out how to use it better. And we all need to spend lots of time. And there's a lot more things to happen. But it's not the go-to-market strategy. It is not the ownership. No, AI is not going to help you figure out how. It's going to help you get more research, more insights, more data, all of it. But ultimately, you still have to go back to the most pivotal questions that every company needs to ask. Where can we grow the most? Where we can have gross margins, there's profitable, where, like, all of those things. Like, those questions are not an AI question. That is a executive team sitting, thinking about it, making some bets, making some gut reactions, get AI to provide data and all that stuff. That thing is going to be more important than ever before. People are swapping it. People are going fast to the execution lane and saying, let me execute 500 social posts. And that's not changing. You have to go back and say, why? Why should we even create that?
And that's when I look at, I think it's great, right? There's these tools that help us be more efficient, and they help our teams. They don't replace our teams. They help our teams. But everyone's starting to look the same. Everyone's starting to sound the same. You can tell when somebody uses AI. And that's when I was talking about brand. I mean, at some point, it's like, everything's just the same, right? We're back in that sea of sameness.
Yep.
And everybody's doing it. So how when we talk about brand is so important these days, and making sure people understand, well, you can use AI as a tool, but it should not be your brand, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And right now, people, I think it's a great point, Jody. I think people are doing that. The features which AI right now, it's all doing is featuring. Like, there are features that are becoming product companies, and they are all going to have massive uptick in terms of how many people are going to give it a try. So they're going to feel an artificial boost as if like, oh, look at it. I got 100,000 people trying my thing. And as soon as they put a paywall to it or anything like that, it's going to drop significantly to 5 people because people are in the process of trying. Like I'm signing up for 20 things a day to just see what's possible. But these are all small features. It's not solving a bigger problem. People are solving for a task. And so the future in my view right now is the future is workflow. The best use of AI is to say, here is what I need to do. I want this type of target account to come to this type of website to do this thing. And then it needs to do a follow-up process. Today it works. All of that is a workflow. It works in a very, very unique, perfect situation really, really well. You change variables slightly, it will break completely because it doesn't know how to take care of all of those things. One of the clients of ours, they were doing customer success and they actually allowed AI to make decisions on how to create discounting. And it started to give everybody free because they also put in customers always right. So you gotta really think about how far and who and where to put the human in the loop. We're all just learning at it. But the questions are more important than ever before. Where are we going to grow the most? Not grow. AI will tell you where can you grow, but the answer to the most is an internal debate that one has to have.
This is a great way to exit, Kristy, right? We ended on a great topic, although there's so much more that I want to talk with you about.
We have to bring you back.
I know. We went through 2 of our questions, Sangram, too. We need to bring you back to go through the other 6.
The other 8, yeah.
Awesome. I'm going to work with you offline on that one.
Sounds good. Well, I appreciate you guys having me. I think this is a hot topic. There's a lot of misinformation and misunderstanding and misdiagnosing in many ways around it. And we spend at GTM Partners, we're spending so much time on go-to-market and we're learning. We're absolutely students of go-to-market. We don't claim to be experts. We recognize the veracity of this topic.
That's awesome.
Well, thank you, Sangram, for joining us on In the Hot Seat. You survived the hot seat.
Great. Thank you so much.
For those of you watching, if you have what it takes to be in the hot seat, let us know. We'd love to hear from you and talk through some ideas and maybe get some debate going. That's it for today's episode. Thank you so much for being with us. I'm Jody Spencer.
And I'm Kristy Tupper. Tune in next time for different faces, different topics, and different perspectives as we put someone different in the hot seat.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.